What's up, fam? It's your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 times, and I'm back with another video. In this episode of Hood Tales, I'll be taking it to Houston, Texas, to discuss the tragic, senseless slaying of James Earl Harp Jr., a beloved father and husband whose life ended at the hands of 3 of his high school friends. But before we get into this video, welcome if you're new here to our channel, and welcome back to all of our subscribers. If you haven't subscribed yet, make sure you do so and join the Tony 2 times family. Go ahead and click that notification bell to get notified every time we upload. And if you're rocking with the content, please don't forget to hit that like button. Feel free to share this video and make sure you watch until the end to hear my full commentary on this story. All right, let's jump right into it. Growing up, James Earl Harp Jr. was known for his infectious smile. James was described as a kind-hearted person who would never turn his back on someone in need. James, a Houston native, attended public schools there. James was known as a jokester with a great sense of humor. James knew how to put a smile on everyone's face. He graduated from Phyllis Wheatley High School. James was a hard worker and also a talented barber. He became a father and was very devoted to his children. James got married in 2012 and welcomed a son with his wife. James also worked in environmental services for St. Luke's Hospital. He was also a man of faith and accepted Christ early on in his life. One of his favorite Bible verses was 1 Corinthians 13:11, which reads, "When I was a child, I spoke as a child, I understood as a child, I thought as a child. But when I became a man, I put away childish things." In March 2020, for whatever reason, James needed a temporary place to stay and was staying with 32-year-old Frankie Erlene Williams, her brother, 33-year-old Shannon Williams, and their friend, 31-year-old Desmond Tolliver. They were all at Frankie's place, and Shannon and Desmond were already living there. All 4 knew each other from high school. On March 13, 2020, Frankie accused James of stealing her gun and kicked James out. They then got into a heated argument, and then things escalated. Bystanders reportedly heard several shots fired after hearing and seeing the altercation. One witness said they checked to see where all the arguing and yelling were coming from about midnight on March 13th. They said the argument had gone on for an hour before they heard at least 3 gunshots. The witness said they looked outside and saw 2 men standing by a sidewalk looking toward a fence. The witness decided to go to their porch for a better look, where they said they saw a man lying motionless on the ground. The witness said they recognized the man from the argument earlier. According to the witness, the man laid there for up to 20 minutes before a white pickup truck emerged. The men who were standing by the sidewalk picked him up and loaded him in the back of the pickup. They said the pickup truck pulled into the apartment complex before leaving. A second witness said the argument woke them up before they heard about 7 gunshots. They looked out and saw 2 men looking at a third man lying on the ground, not moving. The second witness said the 2 men paced back and forth for about 15 minutes before the white pickup pulled up. And this witness also saw them load the man in the back of the pickup. The man the witnesses were referring to was identified as James. Frankie had reportedly shot James during the argument at around 1:30 a.m. on March 13th. After the shooting, Frankie told Shannon and Desmond to load James, who was still alive, into the back of their pickup truck and drove away from the scene. 33-year-old James Harp's body was located later that evening, discarded in a drainage ditch in a rural area not too far from Frankie's home. Frankie, Shannon, and Desmond were quickly identified as suspects in James's slaying. According to Shannon, when he was interviewed by detectives, his lifelong friend, James, had allegedly stolen his sister's gun. He admitted that they both argued and admitted that his sister, Frankie, shot James. He said he and Desmond picked up James and loaded him into the bed of the pickup, and all three got in and started driving towards a hospital. But Shannon said his sister told him not to go there and instead directed him to an unknown location. According to court records, Shannon said when they finally arrived at the unfamiliar area, his sister and Desmond unloaded James and left him in a ditch. Both Shannon and Desmond were arrested just days after the slaying, while Frankie was still at large. Shannon and Desmond were charged with tampering with evidence. Frankie was eventually arrested and faced a hit charge. In 2021, Shannon Williams and Desmond Tolliver pleaded guilty, and both men received 12 years in prison. In early October 2023, Frankie Williams pleaded guilty to the hit of James Earl Harp Jr. Frankie was sentenced on October 23rd to 35 years in prison. James's slaying devastated all who knew the jovial and dedicated man. His friends and family, including his 16-year-old daughter, gave victim impact statements before Frankie's sentencing. Frankie cannot appeal the conviction or sentence and must serve at least half of her sentence before becoming eligible for parole. May James continue to rest in peace. My deepest and sincerest condolences to his family, his widow, and his children. James was loved by anyone who had the opportunity to know him. He was well liked among his peers. His slaying was just absolutely senseless. Whatever the disagreement was, it didn't have to end the way that it did. Frankie, in cold blood, took a man away from his family. James was still alive, and none of those three people attempted to save his life. His so-called lifelong friend, Shannon, just complied and couldn't even persuade his sister to take James to the hospital to give him a chance to live. It goes to show the kind of person Frankie is, that two grown men went along with her devious plan. In my opinion, I feel like she had a deeper issue with James and decided to take his life. What that issue was, I can't necessarily pinpoint, but I feel like the gun situation was a surface issue. They argued for an hour before things escalated. I don't know. Nowadays, friends will take your life quicker than your worst enemy. The bottom line is, Frankie's anger and emotions cost her. Fam, tell me your thoughts on this in the comments below. Alright fam, that's it for this episode of Hood Tales. Thank you all so much for watching. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. This is your girl, Mrs. Tony 2 Times, and I'm out.